It's the Scotty Myers Show.
Hey, welcome to this week's edition of the show. I'm your host, Scotty Myers. Hopefully you are having a fantastic week so far. I am on the road again after a couple weeks home. I was just getting used to being home all the time, and now I am back out on the road. So this time, I'm recording the show from Portland, Oregon, home of the hipster. This is ground zero for hipster. I was in a restaurant last night having dinner, and the guy next to me was just, the way he was talking, I mean, he was dressed in like if hipsters had a uniform, he was wearing it. And even just the way he was talking about things, just like, man, this bar, this restaurant's got a really, really kind of cool vibe to it. And he's just saying this to the bartender. It's like, how long's this place been here? And the bartender's like, oh, it's been here for 15 years. And the guy goes, oh, so this place was cool before it was cool. That's cool. I just kind of looked at him like, is this an actual sentence that just fell out of your mouth like that? Dear God. But I will say, absolutely beautiful city. Even the whole state of Oregon, and dear God, I've covered most of it over the last few days, is just absolutely stunning. And this trip, though, has not been without its bizarro incidents, let's say. Definitely some weird things that have happened on this trip. It started with the plane ride. I landed here in Portland, got up on my plane, and as we were boarding, they were saying like, oh, listen, you know, we're tight for the overhead bin space, so when you get on the plane, just put your bag like wherever you can find a spot. So I was way back in row 27 and got on the plane, and I could see all the cabins above where I was sitting were closed, so they're full. I see one above row 23. I pop it up on row 23. Now I'm waiting to get to my seat, and I'm held up a bit because there's a lady sitting in the wrong seat. She's a couple of rows. She's actually going to sit in row 23. So, you know, we let her get into her seat and all that kind of stuff. Flight ends. I get up. I go to the cabin above row 23. My bag is gone. I'm like, holy shit, someone stole my luggage. Like, what the fuck? So I run. I'm like, come on, I got to get off this plane. I run up the ramp. I get to the gate agent, and I'm like, somebody took my bag from the plane. And she was like, oh my goodness, do you know who? And I was like, no, I have no idea who. It was above seat 23. You know, she's like, well, what's it look like? And I give her a description of my luggage. She pages it. The person that brings it back, the person that had to move seats, that lady. And she looks at me and she goes, oh, I'm sorry, do you have my luggage? No, I don't have your luggage. That's not what the overhead bin is not just well, that one looks nice. I think I'll take that one. I don't know what your luggage is. I'm not in the habit of picking up random luggage and just going, I'll take this one. Who gives a shit what's in it? I'm sure it'll be fine. That's just not, it's not what I do. And I looked at this lady and I was like, how do you function on a day-to-day basis in the world? You can't figure out what seat to sit in, and then you don't know that it's not your luggage, and you had to move seats. So I'm assuming she put her luggage above where she was sitting, probably. I'm just mind-boggling. I have a feeling she probably opened up my luggage, looked through it, and went, oh God, it's a bunch of comic book t-shirts. He can have it back. But just absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, say somebody takes my luggage and they don't find out it's mine until they get to the hotel. I don't know who took it. I'm fuckered. You know, I got an extra t-shirt and a pair of underwear in my knapsack, but that's about it. After that, it's going to be one smelly Scotty for the rest of this week. And I'm on a 2-week run this time. Next week, I'm going to be down in San Francisco. Thankfully, my wife is joining me for that one. But still, just the logic on that. But that wasn't the only weird thing that went down on this trip. It's been an eventful one, even though it's I flew out Sunday, so it's only been a couple of days in. And as soon as I got here in Portland, it turned out some of the stuff that I had to go and look at was actually moved, and it was in Boise, Idaho. So I landed in Portland on Sunday and then had to fly to Boise Monday morning. And I did that, and it was fine. Boise actually seemed like a really cool spot. It's a place I'd like to go when it's warmer. I'm not really a cold weather beast. So Boise could be on my vacation list, if you can believe that. But get to Boise, and I pick up the truck, and I'm moving some gear, and I'm driving on Highway 20, U.S. Highway 20, which will go from a good chunk of Idaho through Oregon. And I'm driving this giant, the biggest U-Haul you can get. And I'm trucking along, and I'm getting close. I got about an hour or so left, hour and a half left in the drive to get to Portland. And I look down at my gas gauge, and I have about a quarter of a tank of gas left. And I got 100 or so miles to go, a little less than 100 miles to go. And there's nothing around me. Like, if you can Google US 20 Oregon, and if people have taken pictures of it, it's beautiful. Like, scenically, you're driving through mountains and all this kind of stuff. It's beautiful. But there's dog piss Willie out there. There's nothing. And I'm driving, and I'm getting into this panic mode of it's going to be close whether or not I can make it to the gas station. I switched my Google Maps. I was like, what's the closest gas station? And it was pretty much exactly where I was headed. Like, that's the middle of nowhere I was in. And so I'm driving, and I'm just kind of like, it's all I can do is just keep going forward, right? The closer I get to civilization, the better. And it was either that or I was going to break down, run out of gas, and I was going to just start to live on the wild. I would have found a cave in the mountains and just made my way living off the land. I would have lasted about a day and a half. But anyway, so I'm driving, and I'm just kind of like, please, let there be a gas station that Google Maps doesn't know about. And lo and behold, there was. There's this, just in the middle of nowhere, on the side of a road, a restaurant with one gas pump. And there's this old, dilapidated school bus parked in front of the gas pump. So I'm thinking, oh, shit, they parked that there to let people know there's no gas. And that. So I pull in, and a girl's coming out. And in Oregon, you're not allowed to pump your own gas. So this girl's coming out, and I roll down the window, and I'm like, excuse me, do you have any gas in there? And she's like, oh, yeah, I just got to fill that guy up first. And first off, I look at the school bus, and I'm like, somebody is driving that? Are you serious? Shit. I was like, okay, great. Awesome. They have gas. I'm fine. This crisis averted. So I park the truck, and I got to use the bathroom. So I park the truck, and I go inside this little restaurant, and it's really quaint, very dated. And I'm looking around, and I go in the bathroom, and there's like pictures of guns on the wall in the bathroom. And everything's kind of that brown, like 70s brown color, brown with a hint of red. And I'm like, maybe it's because I've watched too many horror movies in my life, but I was sitting there going, this is where I die. I've easily just pulled over at a place where, I'm going to stand here at the urinal. A hidden door is going to open in the wall behind me. Some guy in a leather apron and a human skin mask is going to grab me from behind, pull me into a cave from which I'll never escape, and they'll just hide the U-Haul truck somewhere. And that'll be that. But I had to use the bathroom so bad, I kind of reserved myself to it. I was like, well, if that's how I'm going to go, that's how I'm going to go. Obviously, that's not what happened. And then part of me is like, was I not good enough to kill in your little bizarro place? I'm a little upset. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm a capable victim. I mean, maybe that's the problem. I look too capable. I might fight back too much, but little bit of self-doubt there creeping in. Am I not good enough? But honestly, the two ladies running the place were an absolute godsend for me, because otherwise I would have been absolutely screwed when it came to making it. I don't know if I would have or not, but I'm glad I didn't have to find that out. So that was fantastic news. Or fantastic. It was like an oasis in the desert when I first saw the gas pumps. I was kind of like, those can't be real. So really, really cool. Now, the other thing about this trip is I'm down here in the U.S. over the Thanksgiving holiday. Tomorrow, as I record this, is Thanksgiving here in the U.S. And I've come to the U.S. a lot over the years, never really this time of year over Thanksgiving. And I think Thanksgiving is the biggest holiday here. I mean, living away, I've always heard about the crazy travel and all that kind of stuff, but everywhere I go, people, happy Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. It's really cool. It's really like cordial. Everybody's pleasant. Everybody, eat too much, enjoy your family, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to visit a client on Friday, Black Friday, which is also obviously a big thing. That's become a big thing, I think, around the world, at least in Western culture. But I'm going to visit a client, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll be around on the Friday, no problem. I can let you into the yard so you can look at it." He goes, "Want me to bring you a turkey sandwich?" I'm like, fuck yeah, I want you to bring me a turkey sandwich. You know what? I'm surrounded by all this Thanksgiving and people talking about eating turkey and all the stuff that, as Canadians, we did back in October. But now I'm like jealous because I want to do it again. So I'm like, hell yeah, bring me a turkey sandwich, man. That's awesome. Thank you very much. But it's just amazing, like the amount of travel, how much people really care. Like there was a section of Southern Oregon and Northern California where they got belted with a snowstorm the last couple days. And they were telling people, don't go on the roads. They closed parts of the interstates and stuff like that. And people were still like, no, fuck that. I have to get home for Thanksgiving. I am going to go anyway. And the police were saying they responded to like 120 or 140 incidents just in one night in a one small stretch of the highway. I was like, that's crazy, but that's the kind of dedication they have in America to Thanksgiving and being with your family at Thanksgiving. And I'm kind of a little jealous. I wish we as Canadians, for all my Canadian friends that are listening, would adopt the same level of passion about Thanksgiving. I think it'd be great. And I think, I know a lot of people will say, well, we do that around Christmas, but I think Thanksgiving is nicer because it's really just, there's no gifts. There's none of that. It's just, let's get together, eat a lot of food, and enjoy each other's company. End of story. There's something really beautiful about the simplicity of that, Anyway, so I'm looking forward to my turkey sandwich, long and short of it. On to the off story of the week, and this off story comes from my hometown. Oh, my. Thank you, Halifax, and your stupidity at times. The headline that made me go, oh, for fuck's sakes. Ad campaign for Dirty Blonde beer sparks complaints about sexism. So, little backstory on this. There is a brewery, a craft brewery in Halifax called Nine Locks, and they make a blonde beer, and they called it Dirty Blonde. It's a fantastic beer. It's actually one of the better selling craft beers in the province. It does exceptionally well for Nine Locks, and Nine Locks has become one of the bigger craft breweries in the province because of the success of Dirty Blonde. And so one singular complaint said that the ad campaign for Dirty Blonde was sexist. Now, keep in mind, this ad campaign has been around for years. And it's mostly just on billboards. And the billboards simply have a picture of the can and kind of a beer color in the background, kind of, that golden yellow in the background. And all they say, there's two different ones, is, I say they're from Halifax, they're in Dartmouth. And Dartmouth has a reputation as the dark side and being sketchy and that type of thing. So the slogans on the billboards are, one, everybody loves a dirty blonde from Dartmouth. And the second one, we'd like you to meet another blonde from Dartmouth. That's it. There's no pictures of women. There's no pictures of men. There's nothing that would imply any sex whatsoever, except if you read into it from your point of view that it's a sexist comment about blondes. Could be about men. Guys have dirty blonde hair. Could be a male dirty blonde from Dartmouth. But oh, no. This one lady said that it was sexist, and they had a vote by the Craft Brewers Association, a petition, basically, a letter of complaint that was signed by 17 members of the 45 complaining. Now, my only thing I'm going to say about that is this is one of the best-selling craft beers in the province. Don't you think some of them are signing this not because they think it's sexist, but because they want to get rid of a little bit of competition? Now, I understand that we live in a time where we are more conscious of what we talk about and how we phrase things. But if you cannot call a beer, and I don't know if you've seen some of the names of craft beers, they're ridiculous. They're hilarious, but ridiculous. But you cannot call a beer a dirty blonde. Show a picture of the beer, not of a girl, not of a guy, just the beer can, and say, hey, why don't you meet another blonde from Dartmouth? We've gone too fucking far. The complaint itself calls for a cessation of this egregious campaign because in the bright light of the current global political and cultural society movements and whatnot, we demand better. It's cheeky. It's fun. It is not sexist in any way, shape, or form. I'm embarrassed, but yet not surprised that this happened in my own backyard. And when I sit back and I look at it, I just go, dear God, if this is where we're going, and if this happens, if they force them to change the name of this beer or drop the ad campaign, all hope is lost. And then I will need a shit ton of dirty blondes to get over it. It's probably going to definitely cramp their next release, which was Firecrotch Irish Red. I don't think that's going to go over very well now. Offs. On to the geek news of the week. There is some cool geek news headed our way. First, let's start with the rumored villain for Black Panther 2. Everybody very excited for Black Panther 2, rightfully so. And now a current rumor comes out that says the villain could be none other than Victor Von Doom. Yeah, Dr. Doom as the villain in Black Panther. You would think that they would save Dr. Doom for the Fantastic Four movie unless they're thinking of roping the Fantastic Four into Black Panther 2. Now, personally, I don't think Black Panther 2 needs that kick in the ass, but it might be a good way to wash the bad taste of the Fantastic Four films out of everybody else's mouth by putting them in the Black Panther film franchise to get us reassociated with Marvel's first family. So that could work out very, very well. And I for one, would be on it. Dr. Doom is hands down one of my favorite Marvel characters. I love his backstory. I love how he's not just a paint-by-numbers villain. He's very complex. He shares a lot of kind of the same traits as a Lex Luthor who thinks he's doing the right thing, or a Black Adam, or villains like that. So I'm fully in support of this. I found it very shocking when I read this that they would think about Dr. Doom and Black Panther, but in a way it makes sense, and I'm kind of hoping it happens. It would definitely, I'm excited to see Black Panther 2, but if you put Dr. Doom in there, my excitement level shoots right through the roof. Now, if you've been following things online for a while, you've definitely probably seen the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut, where fans are trying to get Warner Brothers and DC to release Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, because supposedly it's 1,000 times better. And that's coming from someone that actually liked Justice League. I enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but I did enjoy it. And some people have said they've seen the Snyder Cut, like Jason Momoa, say it's fantastic. and that it's pretty much 100% done. It wouldn't take much to really finish it up to make it 100% complete. And, it started as a pipe dream, but it continues to grow. And now, especially with HBO launching their streaming service, HBO Max, and being like, we're going to have every DC movie to start. If you want to get nerds and geeks in droves to sign up for HBO Max on day one, have the Snyder Cut on there. There's a way that they can make some money on it, Warner Brothers, Time Warner, and it won't cost you money to release it. I think that's been the big stumbling block for them, is the head honchos there were so disappointed with the box office returns, the just shy of $700 million that Justice League took in, that they are hesitant to release and put money into anything Justice League related. And the new kind of motto from Warner Brothers and DC for their movies has been to focus on solo films going forward. But there is a massive demand to see the Snyder Cut. Throw it on the streaming service, whether it's HBO Max, DC Universe, whatever it may be. That, I think, is the win-win, because people will sign up just to watch the Snyder Cut and either enjoy the fuck out of it or be thankful it never hit theaters. But either way, it's something I think that we need to see. We deserve to see it. I am 100% behind the Release the Snyder Cut movement. And Zack Snyder has recently said, you know what? Don't lose hope. He said, just for any doters, he linked to a Variety article about the Snyder Cut. I think it could happen. I do. There's been a lot of talk of it recently, and more people are getting behind it. Gal Gadot got behind it. Ben Affleck got behind it. The whole Release the Snyder Cut movement. So I think there's a good chance we could see the Snyder Cut at some point. Sticking with DC, we're going to get a new Batman game. We know that, but news is it could be announced next month, December 12th, at the Video Game Awards. That was a rumor floating around, but that rumor is gaining steam. And back in September, Warner Brothers Montreal teased the game, suggesting a reveal was imminent. And of course, the rumors continue to fly that you'll not only get to be the Caped Crusader, but the entire Bat family in a game that is supposedly called Arkham Legacy. And last bit of news, of course, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is on pace to have a massive opening weekend, somewhere north of 200 million. And some industry experts are saying that could get even higher, as Star Wars is riding the wave of fantastic publicity and resurgence in fan love thanks to The Mandalorian. And let's be honest, thanks to Baby Yoda. But more and more people are coming out saying they want to be involved in The Mandalorian. Now, Jon Favreau, who has written the story for the first season and was the executive producer, didn't get a chance to direct an episode. Now, he has said he's going to direct an episode in season 2. And now it's been revealed that Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, would like to direct an episode in season 2 of The Mandalorian. He said, hell yeah, man, if I had the time, I would get there in a heartbeat. I had a set visit for season 1 and it looked amazing. It looked like so much fun. Here's the thing. I enjoy Rian Johnson as a filmmaker overall. I've gone on record as saying that The Last Jedi, in my opinion, is the worst of the Star Wars films. It was the first time I left a Star Wars movie without a big, stupid smile on my face. And I think he did a lot of things artistically that were interesting, but just didn't fit with the Skywalker saga. A lot of things were out of character. I have since fallen in love with The Mandalorian. And while, like I say, I enjoy Rian Johnson's films as a whole, with the exception of The Last Jedi, please, for all that is sacred, for all the life of Naboo, keep him the fuck away from The Mandalorian. He just, I don't know, maybe he doesn't grasp Star Wars the same way I think that I'm just going to say I do, or the masses do. Maybe because this isn't the Skywalker thing, it's more grounded. He might be able to handle it, but let's play it on the safe side. You know what? Rian Johnson, stay away from The Mandalorian. I'm still on board with him making his own trilogy. that's separate from the Skywalker saga. It would have his own vibe to it, all 3 films. I think that he could do, but something that's established, I don't think that's his game. He's too unique a filmmaker. He likes to have his voice come through, which is great, but when you're working in established franchises, it's really hard to do that. So maybe we keep him away from the stuff that we know is working. Let him do his own stuff. That's okay. Just don't fuck with the Mandalorian. Please. For all the cuteness of Baby Yoda in the world, leave it alone and never let that Yoda grow up. That will wrap it up for this week. Thanks again for all the positive feedback online. We've got more ratings and reviews. I saw us climbing up the iTunes chart last week, which is fantastic. So continue to spread the word as well, just vocally with your friends. Share some of the posts on social media. You can always reach me, The Scotty Mars Show, on Facebook and Instagram, and at Scotty Mars on Twitter. And don't forget my good friends on blasttheradio.com. You can catch us there Thursday mornings at 8:30 Eastern Time. And until we chat again, have a great week.